Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Don't Give Up Your Day Job. This week I'm talking about how I learn to be a TV writer. I'm talking about that because when I was a psychology teacher up to a few weeks ago and for several years, I often had problems with students who weren't learning as well as they could, hadn't done as well as they could in their mock exams, etc. And one of the first questions I would ask them when I met with them to see what the problem was how do you revise? How did you prepare for the exam or the test or whatever? And very often I would get replies like, oh, well, I watched some videos about psychology, I had a look at my notes, I had a look at the textbook. One hopes that what they meant was that they read the textbook and they read their notes. And then you'd say, well, what did you do with that? What did you do then? And that's it. So one of the problems is with A-level students is that they very often think that they've revised because they've done stuff that isn't too challenging, watching a video, having a look at a textbook and not really necessarily taking it in. But they don't actually test themselves to see if any of it's gone in. And the most important thing, I guess, to learn to be a writer is to write. But I've spent years on and off writing, and I've done huge numbers of hours of writing, but I feel like a lot of it has been, I've learned the same lesson over and over and over again. So I'm looking for a more efficient way of learning. And so I've turned my attention to the way that I encourage my psychology students to learn when I'm teaching. And I realised that I don't have the sort of template that I would give to my students. If they were, say, struggling with structuring an A-level essay, I would have a template, an essay plan template, which would structure it in the way that it needed to be to get top marks. And I would have certain things that I would expect them to achieve. And once they achieved those, I'd say, right now, add a little bit of this until they were writing top level, high quality essays. And I don't have a structure for analysing other people's screenplays. I don't have a structure for analysing the things that I watch on television or the screenplays that I've downloaded or been given to read. And I noticed this week that I've got about 15 notebooks full of notes, which, like my worst students, I never look at again. Where I've watched TV series and I've made a note and then stuck it in a drawer and never looked at it. I've also got Word documents where I've typed up my assessments of TV series that I've watched or TV screenplays that I've read, and then I've never looked at them again. And I realised that I am like one of my worst students and I need to do something about that. So I've been looking this week for a template which will help me put all the things that I need to observe and record and understand and learn from TV that I watch and screenplays that I read in one place. And then I can compare them with each other more easily, and then I can not learn the same thing over and over again, but have one place where everything's recorded, which is a go-to place. Oh, how did this structure work? How did that dialogue, why was that dialogue so particularly good? And it's all in one place, and I am much more likely to learn from it and benefit from it. So I put some feelers out, and thank you to everybody that replied, because I got lots of great replies, and I came across some websites that I didn't know about as a result of the replies that I got, and a book that I'm now reading which I didn't know about. But I didn't get what I wanted, and I realised that what I'm looking for is very personal to me. And I think I've now I'm coming into a place in writing where, yes, there's lots of beat sheets and structure ideas out there, but analysing a TV script to note what is the best about that script. It could be that the dialogue is particularly great, or the way that the transitions work, or the pacing of it, or something that is not necessarily just to do with the arching episodes and the structure of the stories in the episode. And in a way, I need something that's impossible. I need a template that's got absolutely everything that makes a TV series good in one table. And I guess no such thing exists. If it does, please let me know. So what I've done is I've made my own, and I'm going to share that with you now.
So this is what I've come up with. This is the first sequence, or the first two sequences in Happy Valley Series 2. And what I've done here is, as you can see, I've got essentially, in very, very briefly, what happens in the scene. And then I'm looking at how long each scene lasts. And from that, I am making an assessment of what the pace of this sequence of scenes is. I've put in who leads the scene. I've put in story movement, which I've abbreviated. What I mean by that is, what is it that's making the story move forward and making us want to know what happens next? I've put in transition because I'm interested to see the way in which scenes get moved from one to another, and I'm also looking at the setting in that one. What is the overall effect? And how can I use this? There's a typo there, but yeah, how can I use this? And that's the most important part, really, is each of the scenes in the sequence and the overall sequence, and what I've just learned from looking at the pace and the transitions and etc. What is the overall thing that I can learn? So over here, I noticed that the opening 9 scenes are very quick. They span 4.5 pages. And interestingly, the next set of 9 scenes also span 4.5 pages. So the overall 18 scenes take 9 pages. So we're on page 10, we're into the titles. And it's quick. And I've noted here some of the things that I feel that I can learn from this. And I've actually gone on and I've done the whole episode, and I've learned a huge amount, and it stuck with me because it's taken me a long time to do it. But also it's I've learned some very specific things that I don't think I will forget easily, and things that will be very relevant. And if I then assess another piece like this, I can make similar extrapolations, and I can see whether similar things are happening, or maybe I will analyze a TV series where the opening is very slow paced, and I'll look at the effect that that has, so that I can then compare them.
So that is what I come up with. It is a work in progress. I am going to tweak it. I will refine it. It will get smaller. Some things will get merged together. But that is what I'm using now, so that I can map everything that I see and everything that I read into one place and make comparisons, and have one go-to kind of file for what I think is good about TV. And hopefully that's going to help me in the future.